Now to the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House trade advisor Peter Navarro joining us now. Peter, good morning to you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Never heard that, the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue. That's good.
Well, here we go.
Yes, it is.
You're on the screen now. 3.3 million people filing for those jobless claims. That is a new record, Peter. As our economy has come to a near standstill, what is the White House reaction to that this morning?
Look, this is to be totally expected because the whole strategy of President Trump is to basically get social distancing so we can combat the virus. We put public health above economics in the very, very short run. So this is no surprise. This is expected, and we should accept the news because we're doing what we need to do to combat the virus, Sandra. And
well,
look,
it seems the market.
We just got $2 trillion worth of stimulus, and it's 4 points of the compass. We're targeted relief, particularly for the low-income workers. We've got a big fiscal stimulus itself. We've got targeted industry relief, and we've got a liquidity piece to it, which is unprecedented in history. So President Trump and his team doing everything we possibly can to deal both with the public health emergency and the economic crisis. And we just have to be like the British, I guess, in World War II, a little stiff upper lip and fight this virus.
So let's dig into some of what you just said. The Dow seems to be accepting what it is seeing. It's up 731 points right now. But first to the American worker, as we see 3.3 million people in a week filing for jobless claims, you understand the pain that so many Americans are in right now.
Nobody understands the pain more. Sandra, nobody understands the pain more than this White House. This is a president who has transformed the Republican Party into the party of the working class, and I spend every day trying to help Americans who work with their hands. So we are attuned to their plight, and we're going to try to get them that cash cushion as soon as possible. We're going to try to get the loan window open for small businesses. And we look, it's Trump time here. As rapidly as possible, we're going to do this. What we've been waiting for is for Congress to do their thing, and we're still waiting.
Right. To that point, we understand that there will be a vote in the House tomorrow. But the Senate supported this. It's $2 trillion. As far as the checks are concerned, we hear such varied estimates about when the American people that will be getting those checks will actually get them. We've heard a week, we've heard 15 days, we've heard 3 weeks. When will people get those checks, Peter?
It's not my lane, Sandra, and we'll know that later in the day. Have Secretary Mnuchin on. What I'm trying to do, Sandra, is to make sure our supply chain for the protective gear that our healthcare workers need, the gloves, the masks, the goggles, the ventilators, are moving briskly into places like New York City and New Orleans and Detroit and places like that. And so that's what I'm consumed with 24/7. I'm working with FEMA, working with HHS. We are fully engaged in that process, and we're working double time. We got planes in the air, we got FedEx planes, we got FEMA planes, we got military planes. We have the full force of the American government, but we also have the full force of private enterprise. And that's what we're doing here, and that's what I'm focused on. And we're gonna get those checks to the people as quickly as possible. I'm sure that the Treasury Department right behind me is already getting ready to do that.
Okay, on that note, when you look at some of the key parts of the CARES Act, you're talking about that $2 trillion relief package, $500 billion for hard-hit industries, of which you are talking about $377 billion for the small business aid. And back to your point, the priority, the medical side of things right now, those on the front lines in our hospitals, $100 billion for hospitals. How will that money be used, accounted for? As Peter, we've referenced the New York Post cover this morning, a nurse covered in garbage bags because they're running out of hospital gowns. How do we make sure that those dollars are spent appropriately and get into the hands of those people that need them the most?
Well, the dollars don't mean anything unless they're converted into things like personal protective equipment. They have to cover, the hospitals are tremendous surge now, particularly in New York City. They've got bills to pay, things to buy, and that's how that money is going to be used.
Okay. I want to dig a little bit further into how some of the industries will be affected. There's some reporting in the Wall Street Journal this morning that Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, is coming up with some sort of plan to take a stake in U.S. airlines in return for grants. Can you confirm that that is a possibility?
I can't confirm or deny that. Again, this is not my lane. Things are moving very rapidly. That's Secretary Mnuchin's lane. It's not unprecedented to have the federal government take equity shares in companies. That was done in some years ago. But let's see what happens there. I suggest that you have Secretary Mnuchin or Larry Kudlow on to
We invite them on every single day.
Well, they're a little busy negotiating the biggest package for the American people in the history of the world. So forgive them. I'm here, and I'm trying to do my best. But I have to emphasize that my role in this crisis is to help HHS and FEMA and hospitals around the country get what they need, and we're just getting that done.
So on that note, how would you characterize the progress that you are making on that front? As so badly, you're hearing from the New York governor. We might hear from him in a little bit. He has been taking on about this time every single day to say that they're not getting the ventilators that they need. Send them his way. So what update can you give us on that, if that is very specifically your lane this morning?
Just a day or so ago, when he was talking about not getting the ventilators he needed, that morning FEMA had sent 2,000 additional ventilators, and that afternoon there were 2,000 additional ventilators sent, and my office personally had shepherded 400 ventilators the day before, and there will be more to follow. We're sending, FEMA has an update now, we're sending 500,000 gloves, hundreds of thousands of face masks. So, Sandra, these are great questions you're asking. What I can tell you is that we're jamming the channel as fast as we can. We know that New York is not only a hot spot, but the hospital system there is overburdened now because of this surge, and we're basically sending everything we can to help. But we've also got an emerging problem in New Orleans. We've got Detroit, we've got Chicago, Seattle, California, my home state. Like I said, there's planes in the air everywhere now, and we're as we speak, we're gearing up. Let me tell you another kind of thing, which I think should be heartening to the American people. What I've been doing is working with private industry to repurpose some of their factories. So, for example, the National Council of Textile Organization, which includes companies like Hanes, Fruit of the Loom, Parkdale Mills. As we speak, they have repurposed some of their garment factories into making masks, and those things are going to start churning off the assembly line by the millions per week. Honeywell, we were able to fast track a new plant in Smithfield, Rhode Island for the things that are gold, which are the N95 masks, and that's going to be ramping up quickly. We've had General Dynamics. I called Phoebe Novakovic, they're the CEO, over the weekend and said, Phoebe, give us whatever you got in inventory of whatever you have for equipment. And she mobilized their team, and yesterday we delivered 4,500 Tyvek suits, which again, for healthcare workers, those are gold. A couple of thousand Kimberly-Clark A-Series suits. And we're just, and this is what's happening here. I couldn't be prouder of America right now. I couldn't be prouder of the federal government and private enterprise and President Trump for bringing that effort together, because every time I call somebody, if I call 1,000 people today, 999 of them in the private sector will be more than willing to do whatever we ask. Whatever we ask.
And I know that there's going to be that delicate balance, and there's going to be that delicate balance. You already hear the president talking about wanting to reopen aspects of the economy while we're still battling on the front lines this disease. That is going to be the story going forward. We'd love to check back in with you soon. Peter Navarro at the White House.
Always a pleasure, Sandra. Bye-bye.